down. Up and down.
Toes, 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 toes. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze.
Hey guys, Dr. Will here from Miami Spine and Performance, Iron University in Hallandale Beach. I'm at the man himself, Aldo, the glute father, is that right?
I don't know, I guess.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's his Instagram name anyways. So, Aldo and I have been spending many long nights together talking about glute activation, levers, and fulcrums. And today we're going to talk to you guys about what we've discovered, and we're going to contrast two different styles of hip thrusting. So, for me personally, I participate in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I also work with a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athletes in my clinic. So I sort of teach them hip thrusting around sports performance and dynamic hip movement. Aldo works with a lot of physique athletes, specifically bikini athletes, where it's all about aesthetics and targeting specific parts of a muscle and staying away from other parts. So we're going to contrast the two styles and go fun with it. We're good. Okay, so we're here on like a traditional hip thrust bench, right? And typically what we'll do is we'll maybe put a barbell here or a band or something like that, and we'll thrust up into the band, okay? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a ground-based sport, right? So you're never gonna have your feet elevated, and you're not even gonna have your shoulders elevated a lot of the time. So you're gonna be flat on the ground, okay? But in this case, I'm gonna have my shoulders back on here, and I'm gonna start with my hips all the way on the ground, okay? Now in Jiu-Jitsu, usually the reason why we're bridging is because someone is on top of us, trying to strangle us, trying to break our arm. In MMA, they're trying to punch us and elbow us in the face. That's not good, so we're gonna try to get them off of us, okay? So typically when we're teaching the hip thrust, we're gonna teach the person, number one, to make sure that they can feel their entire foot, right? I'm personally a big fan of all this driving through the heels business, or just driving through the toes, right? The foot was built for a reason. If you activate the tripod of your foot, you're gonna get maximum muscle activity up the chain, okay? How do we feel about that?
I agree, yeah.
Okay, so far we're good. Okay, so I'm gonna have my feet flat. I'm gonna lift my hips up by first squeezing through my glute and bridging the hips up to the ceiling like so. Okay? Now for me, from an athletic performance standpoint, I really just care about a very explosive concentric, right? Because if someone's on top of me and they're hitting me with elbows or they're trying to choke me, I'm not trying to freeze right here. And I'm also not trying to lower them down slowly, right? That makes no sense. That's a whole different activity. Whole other activity, okay? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get them off me as explosively as possible. So we're gonna start here. I'm gonna bridge straight up by squeezing my glutes, try to get my hamstrings, and again, keep my entire foot engaged. And I'm not overthinking what's going on with the torso here, right? I do not teach a posterior pelvic tilt because again, we're talking about combat sports, right? We don't have time to think about posterior pelvic tilt, anterior pelvic tilt, glute activation. We're trying to just extend our hips and get someone off of us. Whereas in all those cases, we're looking at activating specific muscles, so that's gonna be more specific. I'm gonna shoot my hips straight up to the ceiling and come all the way back down. The other thing that you'll notice is I'm not letting myself hyperextend over the edge of the bench here, right? I'm not doing anything like this because now I'm putting a kink in my upper back and I'm gonna affect the neurology. I'm also not keeping myself tucked in like this because if I do this, I'm limiting my hip extension. Look at that. I keep my spine neutral, I get more hip extension. I lock in my spine, I'm flexing my hip, okay? So I'm starting in hip flexion, I'm bridging up explosively, and I'm coming back down. Again, I prefer to use some kind of banded resistance, but you could also place a barbell here. You could use all different kinds of resistance to thrust through the hips. And again, I don't even think of it in terms of it's a glute exercise, it's a hamstring exercise. For me, it's a pattern, right? A hip thrust is a pattern that we're trying to train for sports performance, okay?
It's like a survival mode thing.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu. You could be in a street fight. You could be getting mugged, and you're not going to be thinking about your posterior pelvic.
And you were saying that you shoot from the hips, but do you also like pressing at the same time, or is it just hips?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, see, he makes me think about things I don't even think about. So I guess I guess actually I'm thinking just about hips, but maybe
because when you said
Yeah.
your whole foot, I was like, yeah, because
yeah.
that's where extensions are
Yeah,
from.
yeah.
So then that's why I was agreeing with you, because I thought that was that. Then
Yeah.
the hips up, then what's up? Because you're trying to get someone
That's
to
a
fuck
good
off of you.
Yeah. Use the earth to your advantage, push into the ground.
Yeah. So you're doing both, right? Or no?
You should be, yeah. That's a good point. So let me ask you. So when you're teaching a hip thrust, where do you start? Or when you're teaching, where do you start? I mean, do you tell them when you're initiating the movement off the bottom, what should they be thinking about first?
So first I see how they do it first, because they might be doing it, you know, their spine correct, everything's like good.
Right.
And I really don't have to correct it, and it looks good for the workout, for their goal, then I'm like, okay, cool. If it's, you know, like he's been here, he's been shadowing me, and every person that comes in here, it's usually because they're not growing their glutes. So then I see what they're doing, and the first thing they say that they do is hip thrust or squats. And it's usually hip thrust first and then squats. So I see their hip thrust, and then they usually want to start off with weight. I tell them not to, because then I can't see what they're naturally doing with their body weight and what they can control without any type of resistance. So then they get in here, they feel awkward because they don't have a barbell on, first of all, and then they come up, but now I'm starting, I think a lot, because I take my job seriously. So they're thinking 20 times harder, like they really got to get into it. So now everything's like skyrocketed, so they're like taking their time and literally like posterior pelvic tilting from the bottom, but they're in a relaxed state. Their butt's here, their feet's right here.
Let's just quantify posterior pelvic tilt. So when he says posterior pelvic tilt, he's talking about tucking the tailbone this way, right? So if it's like a dog tucking their tail, right? That's what we're talking about. Where the belt buckle's coming to the seat.
Okay. So they're doing that to come up. I see their toes up in the air sometimes and their heels there. They come up, their chin's tucked, and then they half just collapse on the way down. The other ones, they come down and they want to do like a hinge, and I see their facial expressions like, I'm doing something right. The hinge feels natural, but then I have to do this type of thing, and then they're breaking. I just call it slouching off a couch, where they're like that, but like the intention's there, like they're just missing something. That's why they're here. So they're anterior pelvic tilting at the bottom. When they're trying not to, half of them are trying not to, because they want to hinge naturally. And then the others just relax, but they end up in anterior pelvic tilt.
So they're coming down and they're just kind of like letting themselves just fold over.
And yeah, usually like they have more tissue than us, so their butt's already on the ground.
But their lumbar spine is extended.
Yeah.
So they're just breaking themselves off the energy there.
Yeah.
And then, so if they're starting their next rep from here, you have nowhere to go but to then use a pelvic tilt to get up, right? Versus coming down and keeping the spine in good position. Now your hips are ready to.
Yeah, and then some of them do this where they come back up. They're starting correctly, and then they're coming down, and then right here, then they.
So their spine doesn't keep moving.
They want to. I see them like, so I'm like, yeah, and then what the fuck did you just do? Like all the time, yeah. So like, it's in them. Right. They just don't do it for some reason. Well, I know the reason, but they just don't do it. So then I have to see so those are the things that they need to work on. So then, depending how fast they learn, because they have to unlearn first. Because they've been doing that for so long, it's like teaching someone a new language, a new religion, and we only have like an hour with our clients, and you still want to, give them a good workout. So I see how fast they learn or how hard it is for them to unlearn. So then I'll have them start at the top usually.
At the top of the movement.
Yeah, because everybody could get to the top. They could start from the top. It's the easiest. Yes, they're like this, but then I'll just be like, go with the natural curve of your spine, just like pretend you're doing a backflip. Oh my God! And then I'm like, all right, fucking pretend like you're doing a barbell row or back row into the pad. Boom. Okay, hold that right there. Make a fist. Don't let me pull your arms down. I'll grab their fist.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
that. Okay, so let's say that I'm one of these people. So the first thing you're going to tell me is.
So pretend like you're doing a backflip with your butt and let your neck go with your spine. So if your spine is here, keep going, keep going, keep going. Now, yep, like that. Pretend like you're doing a row. Like you're fucking yeah. Hold it. Don't let me pull you down. But now start coming down with your upper body. Pause right there. Remember, neck and spine together. Let's see how much more you got. Pause right there. And drive up. Backflip and upper body down. Up and down. And just keep going.
So you're kind of loading the eccentric. You're making them decelerate on the way down, right?
Yeah.
But they don't just
collapse. And then they get that natural flow of their body.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, go. And then that's why I walk away and just let them, because if I'm standing right there, they're going to start overthinking shit. And they're going to go back to the same pattern. So I'm like, go. Just have fun with it. Just keep going.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back over here. So keep doing it. So pretend you're still doing it. Yep. Down, 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 down. No, come down. Keep going. Yep. And then up. Boom. Upper body down. Upper body down. And now jam this in there. Up. Upper body down. Pause right there. Let's do partials. Up, right back down. Don't lose it. Back down. Don't lose it. Back down and all the way up. Rest of your whole entire feet though. And upper body down. Up. Yeah. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And I'll change it into more progressively to, instead of me having to jam the femur into their hip. You felt that, right?
Yeah. All those little things it makes your body feel like one unit, where all I'm doing is hip hinging. I'm not like hinging at all these different, I'm just like folding at the hip and opening at the hip.
But in reality, I'll do this. Because these benches are horrible. They influence shitty form. So go try doing that. So now you can start at the bottom because you already know the toes up. Yep. And upper body down. Use the edge of the bench. And just small bench.
And pushing back into the bench.
Yep, like you're doing a hip press. And toes to your face at the bottom as you get down there. Toes to your face, toes to your face.
So you really want everything flexed here.
Yeah, because it's like a spring thing, right?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's just right at the glute. I don't even feel my hamstrings. It's just all glute.
Because you're not using, you don't have to worry about the friction component and stuff.
Wow. That's awesome. And you're kind of using the lat to help lock in the upper spine, right? That's what this is about.
And to influence, locking the spine, not to break it.
Just to kind of keep everything working.
Yeah. And then I came up with my own way of doing hip extension because of the floor stuff. You can't produce a lot of force with just your heel.
But nothing with the spine. The whole time the spine is, because you're just hinging, right? If a true hinge, the spine's not doing anything, right? It's a hip hinge. Wow, that's great. And then obviously you're going to add, you like to elevate the feet as well?
Depends on the person. So I started using this. So go back to down, so up more. And gradually go through the movement. Keep going. That's just one entire midfoot. And now go to your toes. Press more and more.
Wow. That makes a huge difference.
So you get closer actually. This side. Yeah. Now you're like really toes up, toes up.
So you're actively using your shin muscles to lift your toes?
No, I'm telling you to get lower.
Okay.
To get more. You see how much more you got? Now go. Press down right here. And now toes. Toes. Go transfer to your toes. And then loosen. Down, 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 down. Toes, toes, toes. Continue that extension. Woo!
Wow. That's just no weight. That's just 2 reps of
Pass me
body.
the wedges. Come on. Now we're going to add external rotation to the... No, the contraction tools.
See, the crazy thing is, like, I'll do a set of hip thrusts with 405, and I won't even really feel my glutes. I just feel like you feel the barbell on your waist, and you kind of feel your whole body. This, I feel every muscle in the back of my leg is activated. So that's going to cause some extra.
Yep. So first extension, get as much as you can, then go to your toe. Your big toe. Press off of it. Let it go. More and more. Let's see what you got. Pretend you're in prison. Yeah.
Reminds me of my prison days.
And don't you like build more at the lengthened position of the muscle majority of the time?
Like on the eccentric?
No, just like at a squat at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Stretched, and then biceps and leg extensions, but glutes. This is the bottom, like this is a stretch position, right? But everything just doesn't stay there.
Everyone skips it pretty much.
Where they need to be.
So here, you're trying to get them in as much hip flexion as possible to lengthen the glute as much as possible.
Yeah, so it's like that's mimicking a hip press, and then as they go to mid-foot, that's extension of the hips, and then once they go over there, that's like the starting of the sprinter block, where it covers the mid-foot to the toe, and then the external rotation happens after the mid-foot of the gate phase, right? So when you press with your mid-foot, you go into internal rotation, right?
Yeah, pronation.
Yeah. So then that, boom, external rotation. And then, I doubt this is going to fit you, but it didn't fit me. So when you put this on, now it's not, the weight's not on top of you.
Yeah.
It's back here. And now you load it where it's loadable on the eccentric. So
Try it. I might do it.
I'll be like, damn, I'm fat as shit. You can extend it too, I think.
I'm ready for the stage.
Oh shit! Damn, babe, I'm fat as fuck. Yeah! Well, I have to like, dude. Pull it so I guess I'm probably gonna.
It's also just more comfortable to not have a barbell on your pelvic bone.
Yeah.
It feels a lot better.
You can go back one. Yeah, man. Yeah, you see all that space? Yeah! Goes higher, right there. Toes, 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 toes. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. That's for a girl, so. Press down.
Oh.
Woo, shit.
Nice. So your knees back, knees back, knees back.
Yeah. So you see that? That's keeping you from, you could continue to go. So that's why I have this. You see all this space?
Yeah.
Their butts come back here.
Right.
So you have more flexion availability than that or any other bench.
Right.
So here.
And I feel nothing in my back either. Like from all that.
Really?
Nothing in my back. No. Normally when I do hip thrusts, you know, you feel half your back, half your legs. I don't feel my back at all.
So look. So when you come back, there's like a space for your head to go in.
Okay.
If you come to the left a little bit, there's like a nudge thing that you don't want to hit. But
I trust.
I'll get.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like I'm like really at full hip extension.
Use your triceps and push it there. Yeah.
So the lats are keeping me.
Hold this.
Wow.
Help them hold this. It's like, I want you to like get fully extended underneath there.
Just know, guys, I did fit into the belt, although didn't. The last person to put this on is a top Olympia pro, so just saying.
Oh. That has to be higher. Because your butt is touching the ground. So you need to get, or you're just fucking tall. I never had these problems. It's always so fucking tall. That's why it needs to be elevated. But it feels better than having a barbell there, or like
Oh
a
my
bench.
gosh. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't feel any of that midsection spine stress. I just feel like, and the range of motion is night and day. I really feel like I'm putting my glute through a full range.
That's what it is. He's tall, right? His ass is touching before he could get into full flexion.
All right, guys, well, we're going to keep playing around, but thank you so much for watching again. We're at Iron University in Hallandale with the man, Aldo, the mad scientist, sends me messages all day with physics diagrams trying to figure this out, which I'm happy to oblige. Hopefully we'll be collaborating more, maybe doing some research together, so stay tuned. We'll see you guys next time.